Alright guys, today I want to go over my first impressions of Monster Hunter Wilds. Technically, it's not a review because it's just a demo, but man, I've been having a lot of fun with it over the past 2 days. It's not perfect by any means, the performance especially is still iffy, and they pretty much nerfed one of my favorite weapons, but given how we're months away from launch, I dare say that this looks quite promising. Now, before we jump in, I really appreciate all the support you guys have shown for the videos in the past few days. So as a super small show of appreciation, I'm giving away a deluxe edition copy of Monster Hunter Wilds to my subscribers. Just comment down below and leave a like on the video, and I'll announce the winner a week after the open beta ends. But right, let's jump right into it. Quick disclaimer, I will treat this impressions video almost like from the perspective of a beginner, because my first ever Monster Hunter game was World, and I'm sure that it was also for many of you. But right off the bat, Wilds just fixed two of my main gripes I had with the previous game, which was basically the seamless open world and the seamless co-op. So I even had technical issues back in the days when I couldn't connect with anybody. For some reason, it just didn't work. I'm not sure if it eventually got fixed, but I remember quitting around 2018 because it just didn't work for me. So I'm glad to say that now you just jump in, you have this open world, which looks pretty big, even on the first map. And the best part is that people just load in. Now, lobby size is around 100 max players that you can also go ahead and join, but I'm not sure you can see 100 players at any given moment in that map. It kind of phases people in and out, but that's enough to at least see at least a handful of them. So whenever you're in a town or in a hub, or when you're just going out there exploring, fighting bosses and whatnot, there's a high chance you're going to stumble upon at least one or two other players, which is really awesome. I don't have to worry about getting help, or I can just summon help, and I'm just going to see that happening very easily. So that is quite a big plus from my point of view. Another thing is that the quest completion is also seamless, so you don't have to go back to the hub anymore. That was my other complaint about the previous game, that you constantly had to go back to the hub and then back to the mission, and then you would have to finish that mission and go back, which was really annoying and kind of disrupted the flow of the gameplay. So it no longer applies to this game. You can just go in, finish a quest, take down an enemy, and you can just jump straight into the next one, or just resume your open world activity. Plus, quests now start automatically when you do enough hits on a boss. I find that really nice. Another topic is combat. Now, on the combat, I'm a bit mixed because the majority of the changes are pretty good, actually really good, and some of them I don't like them as much because they also may or may not involve nerfs, but yeah, this is just too early to say right now. However, I will say this in terms of the good and positive changes. I really enjoy the focus strikes. Definitely helps a ton to just deal more damage and put enemies on their backs, because you also deal extra stuns. Pretty much every weapon has focus strikes, and you can now take advantage of those wound mechanics to, more easily take down enemies. And for some of the weapons, you even gain extra buffs. Like, for example, Insect Glaive gets all the 3 buffs at the same time so that you can immediately jump in your advanced moves. Besides that, I also enjoy how you gain new animations. Like, for example, the dual blade focus strike is really good. Not gonna lie, we used to have an attack similar to this in World, if I remember correctly, but now you can pretty much pull it off on demand, or when you jump on a target while doing an attack, it seems, but it helps a ton with that. And there are also new abilities for the most part for most of the weapon categories. I think that pretty much everybody has a new type of attack, especially with the circle and triangle combo. But for the others, there are some really good changes also in the way you manage combat. So for example, Whetstone, you can pull it off on Mount Back, which is such a high quality of life change. Helps so much so that you don't have to be stationary in combat. I'm going to talk about the mount in just a little bit, but in terms of the negatives for the combat, I would say there are a couple of them. One of them is the fact that for some reason Insect Glaive has been nerfed. So in the sense, you no longer do those almost, not really infinite, but you would do like 4 or 5 bounces following your jump triangle. So this is no longer going to apply in Wilds for some reason. I'm not sure if it's going to come back in the form of some kind of different skill, or maybe some kind of item set that gives it back, but by default, you no longer have that, which is a damn shame because Insect Glaive in the past used to carry me. I was such a big noob, and this was so strong in World that it literally carried me through the whole game. Now, another pretty big one, and I would say maybe the biggest issue I've encountered in the beta, has to be the performance. Now, it really feels like it's all over the place, and mind you, I've been playing mostly on the performance mode, so uncapped FPS, close to 60 as much as possible, but it just feels like it's not there. So as you play more, as more enemies and players load in, eventually it's going to drop significantly to the point that it feels very choppy. I'm not sure if it's low to mid 30s, but it definitely feels like that. Also, graphics quality wise, I was expecting even performance modes to look a little bit better. There are many textures that appear very blurry, even ones that are close by, and there is some very bad anti-aliasing at play over here. I'm not sure exactly what's the case, but I hope for both of these problems they eventually will get addressed, since there are still a couple of months until the game comes out. Plus, there's also the PS5 Pro around the corner, which may improve, well, actually, it will improve on the performance mode with the higher quality settings and still maybe hit higher FPS, but I kinda worry about the base PS5 users. And besides that, if you play on the PC and maybe have a high-end PC, we're gonna find out how that pans out in a couple more days. Anyway, going back to some more positive notes, I really enjoy the character creation, and overall the character faces in this game look really good. It's not like the most extensive of them all, but you do have plenty of options for pretty much anything you would need, both for your character and your palico. I mean, I was even able to create this discount Walmart Cloud Strife over here, but you can go with anything else you want. And one thing that increases your immersion level to 1000% is basically the fact that now both the character and your palico are voice acted. So they will actually talk in cutscenes and dialogue options, not just grunt or nod at other characters, which I always found super weird, but I guess some folks don't mind it. And your palico also has an option over there that you can toggle on and off between the actual voice acting and just cat sounds if you prefer the old version a little bit more. Now, going over some more quality of life changes, I also really appreciate our mount, the Sacred, which helps a ton both in combat and exploration. It just feels like in Wilds you can get back on your feet a lot easier than you ever did in World. And let me explain why. First of all, it's because of the mount. You can just call it when you get knocked out and it's going to lift you, carry on the back pretty much to safety so that you can better position yourself, maybe get a whetstone in, or maybe just get in some potions and whatnot. So definitely helps in combat too. Or switch to other weapons. That's another quality of life change that I really appreciate. We can now have two weapon sets with us to switch between even in the same fight. But it just feels like the Sacred is so useful in and outside of combat too. You can even set out destinations and it will get you there automatically. It has an auto travel feature that you can activate by holding additionally that arrow up on the D-pad when you're also mounted. So it will just bring you there. Meanwhile, maybe you're drinking something, applying buffs, changing key bindings or settings. You can pretty much do all of that, or just chill and watch something else while your Secret is traveling. And last but not least, probably the biggest plus of them all, and the one that I should have started the video with, is obviously the fact that we get an open beta, a free open beta for such a big title. Like, this definitely screams a lot of confidence from Capcom. The game definitely looks really good. I am quite optimistic that this is going to be a great launch, because everything I've seen up until now looks like a very fun, albeit not perfect, but very fun game that I cannot wait to fully experience once it launches in February next year. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion right now. Let me know down below what you thought of the beta up until now, and if you still didn't make your opinion, play a few more days and then come back. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.